Welcome. Today's video is about loadouts, aka builds, aka your play style, aka so much more to get into when it comes to this. There's a lot to break down. You're not looking at an actual build here. This is just a brand new slot that I'm going to play around with and explain some things to you guys so that you can improve your game and so that you can win more. All right, winning is all about understanding who you are. You have to master yourself. Not everybody is gonna be good with an assault, a submachine gun, a shotgun, or a sniper, or any specific weapon. Everybody has their own play styles, and you have to figure that out right away because that's gonna teach you in-game strategies where you're able to decide what to do. For example, let's say I'm rocking a assault rifle and a shotgun, or maybe just a shotgun and a pistol. Let's just say somebody pulls something off like that. If I have a shotgun and a pistol, what's gonna happen is I am going to be only close range. There'll never come a time where I want to try to take a long range fight or even worry about it. All right, so I would avoid that in this play style. On top of that, I would switch out my perks to be able to complement this close range fighting style. And another thing, we'll break it down, and there's going to be a lot of videos about this type of content to help you understand what you could do. But an example, having a smoke grenade for a close range style of play will allow you to push somebody, throwing the smoke between you and them and then pushing them from there. All right, so that's just one way to play. There's plenty of other items in here that maybe if you're going to hold the building, you want to put some traps like a claymore and things like that that are going to help you. But I just wanted to give you an idea. Of course, we'll have a bunch of different builds you could check out on the channel as you go forward. But this is just a concept. And now on top of this, just general breakdown that I'm trying to teach here, there's way more elements to it. Okay, so we're gonna go over to the number one class that most people will end up using, which is the assault rifles. And one of my favorites for every player is going to be the armory pick. The reason why the armory pick is good, the MCU. The reason MCU is good because it's very balanced. But the reason I want to go in here is because of the attachments. There's a lot of reasons and different ways to set your attachments up depending on your playstyle, and it's going to help or hurt you. Okay, the MCU isn't just for, let's just say medium range only. You can turn this into a close range monster, having better mobility. And if we look at the stats and we start paying attention to what the gun can offer, when it comes to that, oh, where is it? Excuse me. I can't see the stats right now for some reason. So if I go into, for example, let's just go right here and press L2. Now I'm looking at the stats, and it's going to provide me the ability to say, wait a minute, I need more speed. For example, this specific one gives me more speed. It's not a lot, but it's just an example. All the green that you see right where my camera is, I'm going to move it right here, is specifically to improve my sprint speed. My movement speed. This is important because every play style is different. Now, do I want an MCW with that type of setup? No, I prefer a long range, medium range play style. So I'm going to put on a whole set of things that are complementing that. And again, I can see the stats on the range, for example, right here. This has some heavy duty range, better than mine's that I had. So the effective range will be better. So I can do longer range shots. Okay, that's gonna change everything on my play style. Okay, this is very critical for both your weapons. You go in there and you modify it to what you feel like you want to do. All right, if you're up top on a roof and you just want to snipe, get a lot of range things, and we too much stats to go into one by one. But that's just an example. Now, if I am holding that high ground, for example, I just talked about the smoke being good. It's good for everything, for every playstyle. But if I'm holding buildings a lot and I want to be able to keep it, I do want some traps to be able to push people back. I could even try and use a decoy, for example, throw the decoy far to my left, stay on a roof and force someone to come out and try to take a fight with that, and then use it as a sniper. And just a random example of ways to set things up. The proxy mines, for example, on a staircase, on the bottom levels, claymore, things like that. And the same thing goes with your actual perks. And then we're not going to go too deep into these because I have a lot of them and I did a video for that. But I'll give you one example of one that I actually like using for this playstyle that I have. Okay, this is a sniper playstyle. Let's just say I have a sniper and an assault rifle that can do medium range and long range. Right, so beautiful stuff. I'm going to put on cold-blooded, and the reason I like cold-blooded is because it doesn't trigger high alerts. All right, it's definitely not going to trigger. And what does that mean? If I'm aiming at somebody, they're not going to know I'm aiming at them. So that's going to help the long range players. That's very critical. Also, I personally, if I'm sniping, I'm holding a building or trying to get to the high ground, detecting ghosted players. That's another perk that I would put on for this playstyle. Does that mean that's the only playstyle? No, my normal playstyle is having resupply and high alert. It's just a convenient way to play the game. It's basically a life fix for myself. Resupply allows me to get consistent equipment every 50 seconds. High alert tells me when somebody's trying to aim at me, and I'm basically going to survive a little better because of it. But that is the general breakdown when it comes to how you want to go about it. For example, I have a speed base build, and this one is for my very unique build that I have on the channel. I have, of course, double time and sleight of hands for the faster movement and reload speed. Then I have resupply to be able to continuously have equipment. And then resolute is not necessarily the best and it's not the most effective, but since I created just a speed battling against other players with a unique submachine gun and a setup that's crazy, this is my setup for that. I even have a farming one where I also have some speed, but I have the payout perk in here, so when I do go farm for some XP and trying to level up my season pass or whatever. And so that's just a general breakdown that I wanted to give you guys on the principles of what to do. And now I'm going to create a quick build to give you guys just a quick example of what I would like to do and the way I would like to play in these setups. We're going to go with my favorites. I do have a build video for this, but we're changing it up in here. We're going to go with the Bass B, and I'm going to use the setup that I have here, which basically takes the traditional setup, makes it a little less mobile, but the recoil is easy to handle. It has longer range and more damage. So I'm going to do mid-range masterpieces with this thing. All right. And the reason for that is because I can play this two ways. If I have the mid-range weapon that can do some work from close range and mid-range, then I have a decision to make. Do I want to rock a handgun? And you guys know the tire, whatever you want to call it, I call it a tier. This weapon right here is so powerful when you dual wield it. I have a setup here that I absolutely loved. I can throw that on. Now I have a close range weapon. So basically I would play mid range to close range if I did this setup. Okay, that's just the basics, and I'm not gonna do this upgrade and set it up or anything. I'm just going to use the one that's here, but this will be the close range version of this, and I'm not going to go through all of the different play styles that you can do. Personally, I love smoke. I'm always going to say smoke. I'm sorry for everybody else, but then there's things like this, like the stems that you can use because you're going to be on your feet with the secondary, and you're going to be a lot of close range. You can throw that in there. There's plenty of others that I actually don't have on this account, like stun grenades that are top tier, things like that. And then of course for this, I've always gone with the Semtex or the throwing knives. You're going to be moving, you're going to be on your feet and consistently in a fight. So those are the keys, in my opinion, on what you should use and how you should go for this playstyle. Now let's just rewind this, and I'm gonna slow this down and put on one of my perks so that you can see how I set this up. All right, now high alert for this close range style is not going to be as effective. It's better for sniping. High alert is really good when you're using positioning, but if you're gonna play up close and you have close range shots, you can change it up. Throwing something like this, like cold-blooded, where you can't get triggered for high alerts and you can't get detected by certain things, and then on top of it, bird's eye, you're able to see the ghosted players. When you're hunting them down into buildings, you got this. And that's a good way to set it up if you want. For me, my favorite type of build, which I do have a full breakdown on some of the things, is of course the cat. And I love the cat, and we're gonna just throw it in here just so you can see more or less. Throw this cat in here, and I would make it so that it depends on your playstyle. I talked about optics on my last video about my first cat video, my first cat sniper style. I like using the true sight only because it's a close range style. So you take a cat and you turn it into a close range style. You can just easily pop off. The time it takes to zoom in on some of these, and then how close you are, you can't be in a small room and pop off the same way. It's possible, but it's a lot easier if you use a 2-scope or something like that. All right, something like this right here, where it's a 2.5. It's similar. All right, so I'm not going to get into the attachments or anything, but the principle is this play style, again, I can put on specific things. I like Semtex personally to be more aggressive with that. I do have to rotate, and I'll use the Bass B whenever I want to be aggressive, but I can get on the roof and use the smoke to get in between different areas and go from there. And again, my first custom, which I call it the best, has double time, sleight of hands, resupply, and high alert, because while I'm up there sniping, I can see if someone else is marking to wanting to shoot me and to go forward from there. And so this is a general breakdown of things you can do to make a build that will work for your playstyle. This isn't the only playstyle, okay? You can go and put on 2 main weapons. This game doesn't limit you. All right, if I get my loadout in Warzone, I can have 2 main weapons. Why would I not want to have 2 main weapons? Well, maybe if I want to rock a handgun, which is the tier, for example, that would be amazing, right? There's different playstyles. Personally, I love some of the LMGs, and you can throw one of these bad boys on and get crazy, have 2 medium range weapons, and then just basically pick your fights carefully and go pop off. I love the LMG because I use it even for long range. I just suppress people, just empty a clip into somebody trying to cross a path and to do different things. So it just depends on how you want to play, the things you want to do, and the way you want to set it all up. Okay, this is very critical, and one of the last things I'm gonna kind of open up about, and we're gonna just pick one of these nice assault rifles that I haven't really talked about much here. We're gonna throw this MTZ, and the only reason I'm throwing it on here is to go into some of these stats to help you guys say, okay, I see where he's going. So I have a decision every time I go in here. All right, you can see on the bottom left, it can see I'm boosting damage, range, and accuracy. Great, but my mobility drops, my handling drops, my recoil stays the same, which is good, but this is more for aiming and damage. Now, if I switch it up and go backwards right here, I have mobility and handling. This means that I'm going to be able to aim down sight faster. I'm going to be able to move faster. It's just overall for movement. This assault rifle doesn't mean that you have to only play one playstyle. And this is the point I want to make about different builds when you're watching somebody like myself or whoever. Oh, this is the best build in the game. And it's like, no, it might be for those type of players. Rather than settling for what someone tells you, figure out who you are and how you want to play, and then start adjusting it, taking off a couple attachments. You don't want to listen to me or a top player, even a world champion, like he has the answer. You have to be able to know, okay, well, I actually like being on the ground. I like pushing teams, or oh, I like staying up top, holding the roof. Well, I'm going to put on what works. Okay, this puts up high range, high accuracy, and damage. This would be something I'll equip on here. And then if I keep going down the list, let's go with the stocks. I can choose the same type of thing where I want more accuracy and more range. And so we're gonna go with, let's see, the underbarrel. This might help out accuracy and range. What do we have here? Look at this bad boy. This gives me crazy accuracy. My mobility drops, but I don't really care. Okay, so then boom, now this is turning into a, and we're just gonna kind of continue to boost it up a little bit. It doesn't matter what sight you have. We're not going to talk about that, but I'm just putting extra sights for a little more range, a little more overall. And let's just make believe I'm going to throw on a rear here. More accuracy is the best. So here it goes right here. A little more accuracy. Okay, so that is the setup. And let's just go crazy because, you know, these lasers, it's not the way I would put this build, but the point is you can see my accuracy is almost maxed out just by doing a very simple, oh, let me pump up something with accuracy. Now this is an accuracy playstyle. Now, do I want to play that way? No, I like being aggressive. I would completely wipe this and do a different version with all mobility, with a lot more hip fire or ADSing during, you know, close range situations. So that is key to knowing your playstyle. And I'm sorry that there's no specific build here. We didn't want to like do those because I just wanted to help emphasize the importance. And these perks are just as important for the game. You want to be able to look for multiple versions. Okay, sometimes you might say, you know what, I'm not going to stand on a roof and snipe all game. I'm going to go get in there. And so you put on a different type of play style, and it's up to you to figure that out and to know what's best for you. That's all I got to say when it comes to loadouts, aka your build. It's your play style. You have to think about it like an RPG and how you want to do things. You can see I have a lot of weapons here, a lot of setups, some wild stuff that we'll get into later on. But I hope y'all enjoyed that. There's plenty more. It was a long video just to kind of reiterate building your play style first. All right, I appreciate y'all. Stay blessed out there. Peace.